EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a week 3 in the National Football League. The Philadelphia Eagles will take on the Los Angeles Rams today. Kickoff is about an hour and 40 minutes away. We are live with the JAKIB Pregame Show. Big Sills, another beautiful day in the NFL. How you doing this morning, brother?
It is always a great Sunday when NFL football is being played, and here we go with a big one. Man, I tell you, I struggled with it, Zander. I almost went back on what I said on Friday because – I think this game is going to come down to a field goal. I think this is going to be what I called all week long. I said this is going to be the validation game. We're going to find out a lot of things about really both teams, I think, Rams and the Eagles. But listen, you got an exceptional quarterback playing in that Rams side, and Fisk is going to play.
Yeah, that's
so
big.
I heard that, and I think that's big. We had Jackie Slater on with us earlier in the week, and he was saying how great that defensive line is. Zander, I think this is going to be some ball game, and I think this is going to come right down, in my opinion, to the last possession. I think this is a last possession football game.
Yeah, well, this is a team, Sills, compared to the two we've played so far for the Eagles. This is the best test in terms of they are positioned to take advantage of what the Eagles don't do well in terms of that secondary has some questions. They'll take advantage of that. So it's going to be a great matchup today, Sills. Obviously, a lot of talk coming into the game, and we'll just start right here. I was just listening to the NFL Network, Kurt Warner talking about it. I'm going to read you a couple stats here, and, I have some takes on it, but I will get your takes on it first. Obviously, the passing offense for this Eagles team is the talk right now. You're 2-0. All right, they look good. They've won 18 of 19 football games. I don't think anybody's sounding an alarm, but anytime you rank at the bottom in the league in anything, there's an assessment that needs to be made. So passing yards per game so far through 2 games, they rank 31st in the NFL. 10-plus yard completions, they have only 3 of them. It's last in the NFL. Passing touchdowns, they have 0. It's last in the NFL. And passing first downs, they have 10. It's last in the NFL. So they are clearly right now not humming in the passing game. Now, there's a lot to make of that. How do you make of that coming into a game like this, and just kind of your evolved thoughts through the last week going into week 3 here? We do call it the Liars Month here on JAKIB Sports.
I tell you, I think the Eagles are struggling with their identity. I think it's a struggle with identity because the investment that you've made money-wise with the receivers and the quarterback tells you that they want to be able to throw the football deep. They want to throw it often, and they want to get that ball in the hands of their skilled wide receivers. Right. On the other hand, they won the Super Bowl, just counter that a year ago. I mean, they got into the game. Yes, they threw the ball, but how they got to the game, remember, they got to the game because they were dominant at the point of attack. I really think that offensive line is struggling in pass protection. They're like 16th in pass pro. And if it's not for Hurts going off script, I don't really think they've had a really great start to the season. Now, we always have to underline it and preface it with 8 quarters of football. And as you just said, it's Liars Month. So, I mean, look, do I think they're ever going to be a high-profile passing attack where they're going to be high volume? They're never going to be that. Why should they want to be that when they just carved out a way of winning a Super Bowl their style? Look, I think they're struggling right now with what they want to do. And they really did this a year ago. Remember, Zander, they came out a year ago. They wanted to throw the ball around the yard. They had all kinds of motion going back and forth. They got into the bye. The players went to the coaches and said, let's run it. This is what we do best. We're going to run it. I got to tell you, one of the things I said, I was really going to maybe walk back on my prediction that I made on Friday, but I'm not. And I'll tell you why. I think, again, I do not believe that Barkley's going to get another 200 yards in this ball game not because Barkley's not healthy. I think this Landon Dickerson injury, in my opinion, Zander, I think it's a bigger deal than what people are making. I saw a really poor game by Jordan Mailata in game 1 against the Cowboys. I saw a good game last week when they were able to get things done and they were able to win that ball game late. But, boy, I'll tell you what, man, I got to see a little bit more consistency. Barkley is under 80 yards in the 2 games. I mean, he's just not been a power back that we saw a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's the offense. I mean, is still looking for that cohesiveness. But, I was listening to NFL Network this morning, and Gerald McCoy was on the panel with Kurt Warner and Rich Eisen. And Gerald McCoy said something that stuck out to me. And he said, a lot of people would say this offense hasn't taken flight yet. And that's fair to say, but I would say they haven't landed yet. They've won 18 and 19 football games. Ask any person who's ever taken a snap in the NFL how hard that is to do. I don't care how good your roster is. I don't care how good your coach is, your quarterback is. Winning 18 of 19 football games is an extremely tough task. And the fact that they've done that, let's not nitpick. And you bring up Saquon. I mean, I think it's a good point. That's probably our next conversation here is with the passing game being what it is, they are relying on that running game stills. Last year, I know it's last year, 255 yards for Saquon in the first game with 2 touchdowns, 205 yards rushing in the second game in the division with 2 touchdowns. I mean, he destroyed this team last year, Sills. He destroyed this team. Now, it's a new year. It's a new team. It's a new defense over there for LA. They've improved the middle. They got Poona Ford. Braden Fisk is a better player. Jared Verse, by the way, looks like
Kobe Turner's a hell of a player.
Kobe Turner's a hell of a player. So they got a great defensive line, but that's matchup number 1 for me. What's that defensive line look like? Not in pass rush, but against our running game.
That's the big question. Really is. And to me, it's more on the Eagle side. It is more on the Eagle side of this because I think Poona Ford really helps. He's one of the best run blockers run stoppers, I should say, in the NFL. But is that going to be enough? I really don't think Cam's playing that well. The first 2 games of the season I've seen him play, I don't know if it's Landon that's been an issue with his play too, but I think he's been spotty. Actually, if you're going to go with the interior, and a guy who's played better than I thought has been Steen. He's actually played pretty decent over at that right guard spot, And
I think, Sills, I think people kind of, look, I like Cam Jurgens. This isn't a knock on him, but I think sometimes people delegitimize or lessen the importance or, how big a back surgery is. Anybody who knows somebody that has back surgery, it's not something that, okay, you're done and you move on and it heals up. Those things take a while. They nag. Their backs are tough. So, he is coming off that back surgery. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on here in this game. Sills, the best part the biggest thing going for the Rams in this game. They got DeVonta Adams. They got Puka Nacua, who's ascended into probably a top 10 receiver easily in the National Football League, and a Hall of Fame bound potentially Matthew Stafford, who can throw the ball as good as anybody in this league. What are your thoughts on the Eagles defense coming in versus that passing game today?
If you do not get a pass rush going on Matthew Stafford, he's going to find Dory Jackson, and he's going to find the holes that are going to be in that secondary and in that zone. He's going to find it because he is one of the best throwers of the football. And let's not forget something. If you take a look at Davante Adams' numbers over his career, you're looking at Antonio Brown stuff. I mean, this guy's had enormous numbers in his career, and it has been an absolutely fabulous fit. I think the run game is going to be enough to be able to get them. Now, look, again, I said this the last 2 weeks. If the Rams get 135 yards in this ball game, rushing against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 16th in rushing defense, this is going to be a last possession game, fourth quarter football game for sure. The priority in this game has got to be to get that run game going for the Rams because that opens play action. And Stafford in play action is deadly. And if he gets time, boy, I'll tell you. Remember something. He's not going to try to get out in the perimeter. This guy has no wheels. He can't jump over a stack of dimes. But you get him back there, sitting back there, Stafford has proven that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League's history. Not still in the game, and he's 37. So I would say this, got to get pressure on him. And Zadari has to get pressure. I think we got to start to see a little bit more from Nolan Smith and also from Jalen Hunt. Got to be able to get pressure on them and stop the run. And by the way, let's keep an eye on this one. Jalen Carter, last week wasn't great. And you're already coming out of the gate here with the suspension. I thought you were out of shape. Vixo said it. I mean, you didn't really play. Now, maybe again, I saw a wrist or something.
Wrist and shoulder. Apparently the shoulder's really nagging him.
Okay, so again, that's in lockouts.
Yeah, right.
So, sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes it's not going to hurt. So keep an eye on that too, because he may be a little bit more injured also. I think this is the last possession, last quarter, fourth quarter football game for sure.
Yeah, and I think looking at that Rams offense, something the Eagles team always emphasizes and almost goes to too far of a degree with it is the turnover battle. But I think the Rams have to focus on that more than we do today. Not to say that we shouldn't focus on it, but Kyron Williams, as good as he is, as a back. He turned the ball over, fumbled both games versus the Eagles last year. And you think about that playoff game, which came down to the final possession. Boy, he doesn't fumble that football, you might have a different outcome in that game. So Kyren Williams is a guy to keep an eye on, and he's only had 66 rushing yards in each of the first 2 weeks. He had 66 week 1 and 66 week 2. So not really off to a big start for Kyren Williams this year.
I'll tell you what, too, if I were the Eagles, I'd keep an eye on Makuba. I would keep an eye on Jihad Campbell. I would keep an eye on all the young guys because this is where Stafford's going to go.
Yeah.
How much do you
he's
know?
going to pick apart where are the weakest parts of the defense I can.
And he's going to make them prove that they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, this has got nothing to do with ability. This has got everything to do with knowledge. Do you know how to stop crossing routes? Also something to keep an eye on. So what are you going to do with Q? Who and what and who is he going to defend? Is it Nakua? Now remember, he kind of gets used a little bit more like Deebo Samuel did when he was up in San Francisco.
Moving all around. Yep.
I saw jet sweeps last week. I saw them running in between the tackles. So he's more of their big physical guy that's going to try to create some opportunities for them. They want the ball, obviously, in his hands. And then that opens up again. I mean,
he's
covering DeVonta Adams.
That's what I mean, because I don't think Q's going to travel today because of how good DeVonta Adams is. It'd be one thing if they had a little bit of a lesser receiver over there. DeVonta Adams will make light work of Adoree
Defend
Jackson.
the zone.
And I don't even say that with disrespect to Adoree Jackson. I'm not going to try and be hard on him like we all have been for the last week, but that's just no match. DeVonta Adams is that good.
I will tell you the biggest key in this game is going to be open space tackling by Cooper DeJean in the middle of that zone. Because as we just said with Puka and with DeVonta going across that zone, keeping him in that slot, I thought that they were going to go situational depending on what kind of, personnel they lined up against. Look what Vic did last week. Vic did a crap load of blitzing last week, right? Yeah. This week here, I don't think you're going to do a ton of it. Because
he might not blitz once today.
He may not. And I don't believe, but you have to create pressure.
Stafford will destroy you, though. If you blitz and you got Adoree Jackson on DeVonta Adams, he will light us like a lamp.
What's the difference from last week to this week, in your opinion?
The receiver? Are you talking about defensively?
Completely.
Yeah, it's the receivers. I mean, it's
completely. Last week, Vic had no respect for him,
right?
And that's why he blitzed them like more.
And
than
he was right, by the way, because they never really were a
factor in that ball game. Never were a factor. The receivers in this game will be a factor.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Big Sills. No doubt about that coming in. Sills, looking at this Eagles offense on the other side here, I know we briefly talked about running game, passing game to start this segment off, but it does feel to me like, because of the opponent you're playing today, the Eagles might have to move the ball through the air. It's not to say they have to. I can't say that because every time I feel like I say that, they prove me wrong by winning with 94 passing yards. So, but I will say it does feel like if there's a team to put you on your heels and make you have to throw the ball through the air, this Rams team is a team that can do it. So what do you think of that passing game? Look, I know it hasn't been great. You got A.J. Brown on Emmanuel Forbes today.
There it is.
Like, dude,
come on.
I don't want to hear it. Like,
no, I don't want to hear it.
A.J. Brown should be able to take that guy to the woodshed today.
I mean, he said it too perfectly. He goes, Emmanuel Forbes is least of my concerns right now. Right. My concerns are going to be out there making sure that the football gets to us. So, yeah, no, listen. I mean, if A.J. Brown doesn't have an enormous game on Emmanuel Forbes today, there's really something that we'll be questioning in the post-game show because that is a complete mismatch. And I really don't believe they have great corners since Ramsey's no longer there.
Yeah.
That's not a very good secondary in the corners. Their safeties are pretty good, but their cornerback position, I don't believe it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Ramsey, speaking of him, is having a great start to his year over in Pittsburgh. So good stuff there. We got Johnny Mack in the green room right now. He's set to join us here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. I think the inactive list might have just come out. I was hoping to get John right as it came out. Let's bring him up right now and see what Johnny Mack has to say live from Lincoln Financial Field. Johnny Mack, welcome into the pregame show, brother. How you doing on this Sunday morning, John? Not often can we say that about a pregame show, but a Sunday morning. How you doing, my friend?
Not sure he can hear you.
Doing well. Nice day here at Lincoln Financial Field, as you mentioned, 1:00 game. So always exciting for the media contingent, at least when it's 1:00.
I like 1:00 games too, John. Let's go play. Let's get it home. I don't want to sit around all day. not sitting around all day. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Johnny Mac, what are your keys, man, coming into this? Well, first, let's start. Are the inactives out, Johnny Mac? Do you have a look at the inactive list right now for the Birds and for the Rams? Because I think there is some notables on the Rams as well with Braden Fisk and a couple other guys there.
I don't have the Rams yet, but I'll check that out in a second. The Eagles, obviously, similar situation. Maybe a thought that Tanner McKee could be the backup today. That's not going to be the case. He's going to be the emergency quarterback still. So he'll be available if Jalen Hurts and Sam Howell both have to leave the game in a catastrophe situation. But one more game with Sam Howell as the backup. Azeez Ojulari, which has been consistent. Will Shipley was already ruled out. Agbo is out again, so that's been pretty consistent. Drew Kendall Green. The one somewhat of a surprise is Patrick Johnson because he's been a big part of the special teams early, so he'll be inactive. And that's the Eagles. Got to look at the Rams as we're doing the show, but from the Eagles standpoint, very healthy team for the most part coming into the game. So no drastic surprises from their standpoint. They had it basically all figured that we're able to practice on Friday. But they did rule out Will Shipley, give him a little bit more time. And so A.J. Dillon will continue to be the backup, and I imagine will work in again on kickoff returns, but probably won't see him yet getting any offensive snaps.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, John, so, I mean, to me, going into this football game, what would you think is going to be the big key going into the game if you're the Rams going against the Eagle defense? Pressure, in my opinion, if they don't get pressure on Matthew Stafford, I think that's going to be an issue for the secondary, especially a guy like Stafford, plus with those wide receivers. John, I heard you this week say this. This might be the best group of wide receivers they might play all year. I mean, when you're talking these two, I mean, go down the list of the teams down the line. There's going to be very few teams. Got to get pressure today, John.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, this is always the way with the Eagles, but it's always up front on both sides of the football. And if you look at last year, they dominated the Rams in the running game offensively. And then on the defensive side, obviously you have to speed up Matthew Stafford. You have to get him off his spots. It's not going to take a ton of sacks because he's a veteran guy who understands how to play the position. But the key is you got to speed him up. You got to make him throw the football before he wants to throw the football. If he's back there, if he's comfortable, yeah, Puka Nacua, DeVonta Adams specifically are going to hurt you. But, Tutu Atwell can do some things as well. Whittingham can do some things as well. So this is a very good receiver group, basically 180 from last week at Kansas City, which might have been the worst group of receivers you'll see all year unless there's a lot of attrition elsewhere. And this might be the best group, as you mentioned. But the Eagles will zone it up. It won't be – a lot of people are worried about Adoree Jackson. It's not like he's going to leave Adoree Jackson, Vic Fangio, by himself. They'll play a lot of quarters, a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3. So they'll mix in a lot of their zone coverages, which, a lot of times they're man-match coverages as well. So it might look like man in the zone, but – Vic's going to be, back to his sort of more of his base philosophy than I would say last week in Kansas City when he felt very comfortable blitzing a little bit more because he wasn't worried about the receivers.
Yeah, I would expect that blitz number for Vic today to come back down to precisely a 0 with Matthew Stafford throwing the football. We will see how that goes. John, going over to the Eagles' offensive side of the ball, it's an interesting matchup because on one hand, you have A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes, and I think A.J.'s licking his chops. You would hope the quarterback is licking his chops at that, and Kevin Patullo as well is licking his chops. But you also have a running back that had 4 touchdowns of 60-plus yards last year, almost 500 total yards of offense through the 2 games. So it's kind of a pick your poison. How do you expect the Eagles' offense to attack today, J-Mac?
Well, I think we've seen it enough that this team is going to be extra cautious with ball security until they're forced out of that philosophy, basically. So I know everybody wants them to throw the ball all over the lot. They might, but that will depend on the personality of the game. Now, it's been overt to the degree that we've never seen before. Against Kansas City, Jalen Hurts threw for his fewest passing yards in a full game as a starter. They attempted 3 passes of 20-plus yards all season, 2 games. Even in 2 games, that's weird with that short sample size, small sample size. On the other hand, he's the first quarterback in 50 seasons to win 2 consecutive games without a touchdown pass. All these ugly statistics, except the end, which is they win every game. And they've won 18 of 19 overall, 16 consecutive when Jalen starts and finishes. It's crazy. Last 9 at home for Jalen Hurts, 9-0 with 21 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. This is the best ball security team in the modern era. And until they get pushed out of that, if you look at that 18 of 19, they've had 39 takeaways and 8 giveaways over that stretch. Until they get pushed out of that, they're going to continue the way they play.
John, let me throw this at you. I had Jackie Slater on this week, and Jackie Slater said, I thought this was a crazy comment that he made. I know Jackie long time, 20-year veteran, Pro Football Hall of Fame guy, spectacular. He said this is one of the best defensive lines that the Rams have ever had, and he's talking about foursome stuff because he was talking to Rosie Greer, and Rosie was saying, these guys are good. They may have really kind of fixed up the middle of the defense. And, John, I said this, man. I mean, the last 2 weeks, I have not been impressed with the interior. I think Steen's actually probably played the best of anybody in the inside because of what Landon Dickerson's injury is, and I don't really think Cam's played all that well. I thought Dallas and last week, I thought Kansas City, I thought they controlled the line of scrimmage, and this to me is going to come down to that today. If they can stop that run and get after the quarterback, this thing's going to be a last possession ball game. This thing's going to be a pretty close ball game, in my opinion, if they can't slow them down.
Yeah, I'm not on board with the Eagles' offensive line not playing well. I think Landon is the one guy because of injuries that has not played up to his reputation. I saw people because I've told this to Zander pretty consistently. I contextually compared to everybody else, I think they're still top 5. And lo and behold, PFF comes out with their first offensive line rankings, number one in the NFL. I think a lot of what happened last week was Steve Spagnuolo zero blitzing 15 times. So it might look leaky when you have an extra rusher you can't account for, but that's what the quarterback is there for. He's the one who accounts for the extra rusher. The offensive linemen, by and large, are doing their job, with the exception, again, of Landon Dickerson, who hasn't played up to his standard. Not that he hasn't played acceptable, but hasn't played up to his usual standard because he's banged up. So I don't necessarily agree with that, and that's one of the reasons I like the Eagles in this game, because while I agree with Jackie's assessment that the Rams' defensive front is very good, they're very good pass rushing. They're undersized. They're tremendous. But you saw it last year. They're very small. And I'm a big styles make bites kind of guys. And what did the Eagles' offensive line do? They pushed them around. they're going to push them around again. They're undersized. They're not, they got a little bit better at linebacker, moving on from Christian Roseman to Nate Landman. But again, we're not talking about Ray Lewis out there. Just slightly better. Byron Young having a great year. I guarantee you, he is a speed guy. Watch that matchup because Jordan Mailata eats speed guys for lunch. If you don't have a counter to that, you're not getting anywhere. Now, Jared Verse is the one guy. He can play any style, any way. He's just good. He's just really good. So you'll have some occasional trouble with him. But when it comes to Turner and Young and even Fisk, who's going to play but is banged up, undersized guys, really quick, doesn't match up well with the Eagles' offensive line.
Well, let's go on the other side then, John. The Cowboys, who have no running attack, and I don't really think Kansas City does too. And I get Carter being out, maybe not in the best of shape. Both those teams have run for 120 yards, and the Eagles are 16th in run defense. If you get any kind of play action in this ball game, it's got to be a Carter game here, right? Because you do not want to get anything with 100 or 130 yards rushing, 120 yards rushing. That's exactly what Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford want. Any kind of play action, you're going to be able to find openings in that zone for DeVonta and Puka Nacua. They kind of use like Deebo Samuel now a little bit, running him in between the tackles, jet sweeps, and such like that. So, I mean, they got to kind of fix up the last 2 weeks, probably get better, John, today because of maybe a couple more weeks here of having Jalen Carter in there. But, I mean, they've given up 120 yards rushing the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I point to what the Rams do, and the Rams do. I like Kyren Williams as a player, I really do. But his one sort of glaring issue is he puts the ball on the ground, and he put it on the ground twice last year. The Rams were moving the football out in the game at SoFi. They were taking the opening drive and taking it right down the field inside the red zone. Fumble by Kyren Williams changes the whole sort of complexion of that game and the momentum of that game last year. And then in the playoffs, I believe it was Jalen Carter peanut punched it out. Again, close game. Rams have the ball moving a little bit. He fumbles in a big situation. So I harken back to that number I gave you, 39 takeaways, 8 giveaways. The Eagles practice this more than anybody else. Half of the individual drills are either ball security or trying to strip the football from the opposing offense, trying to work those drills. It shows up, and it showed up against the Rams. Kyren Williams has got to be very, very conscious because I guarantee you, all those guys, Zach Bond, specifically Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, have all proven they're really good at that Charles Tillman peanut punch, and they're going to be going after Kyren Williams. Wouldn't surprise me if he puts the football on the ground again. I just don't like how this Rams team matches up with this Eagles team.
Johnny Mac, let's talk about Kevin Patullo for a little bit. After listening to you and what you think the Eagles' offense approach is going to be today, it feels like Patullo is stuck in between a rock and a hard place here, Johnny Mac, because not many are happy with Patullo in the Philadelphia area right now with what the offense has done through the 2 games. But based on what you said, they might have that same approach where there's nothing down the field. All they're trying to do is not turn the football over. What does Kevin Patullo have to do today to try and win over the minds of Eagles fans in the area, John? Or is it not happening regardless?
Well, I don't think from their perspective it matters as long as they win the football game. Now, if you start to lose again, then it matters greatly. As long as they win in the end, they don't care. They don't care. I've said it pretty consistently. This offense looks the same, whether it was Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore, Kevin. It's a little bit different only because the first 2 games last year, like this reminds me exactly of Baltimore, Carolina last year. The only difference was that was in season. we had these two dramatically poor passing days, and then came Pittsburgh, where you're forced to throw it a little bit more because they did a good job against Saquon. So I think it's about the personality of the game. So if Eagles fans truly want to see passing offense, they got to hope the Rams score some points and they'll see some passing offense.
John, once again, I'll ask you the question I asked you last week with the Chiefs, and I'll go here again. Do the Eagles overcorrect with AJ and force him the football? I mean, you got a complete mismatch on the outside with Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, you heard AJ talking, it's more about being on time and communicating. I don't think there's anything wrong with those comments that he's making because he's speaking the truth. Jalen Hurts even took ownership of it, saying, hey, we got to be better than this. And I even heard the OC say it. So, I mean, nobody's talking crap here on anybody. They all know they've got to get the football in the hands of their playmakers. So do you see maybe even Goddard becoming a factor even today across the middle of the field, testing those linebackers?
Well, I think Dallas being back, if you think about the first play in Kansas City, it was a shot play called up for AJ. It was wide open, but Grant Calcaterra missed the block. So I think if that happens today, Dallas will probably do a better job on the block and maybe everybody's happy. And you got a 40-yard pass down the field. So, I mean, that's sort of the dichotomy between success and failure in this particular offense. But to your point of forcing the football, they've proven they're not going to force a lot. Now, AJ has a long history, not a long history, but I'm sure in Emmanuel Forbes' mind, a very long history of torturing that poor kid. So there is some point to that. But, I was talking to AJ earlier in the week, and he's like, I don't care who it, just, I'd like to touch the ball, basically, no matter who's out there. So, but to that point, if the personality of the game demands it, the Eagles will throw the football. If it doesn't, they're going to play the turnover game, and they're going to wait for Kyron Williams to fumble the football.
Johnny Mac, your final thought, man. Appreciate you doing the pregame show today. Your final prediction, John, and your top key to the game to watch today before we let you run and enjoy this 1 p.m. matchup.
Yeah, I think it's getting Stafford off his spot, speeding him up. I think that's the key to this game. If the Eagles make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, I think it's a pretty easy Eagles win. If he's comfortable and if he's cooking and if he's able to let the routes develop, the Rams are going to score some points. And then it becomes more of the Eagles have to match that. So I think it's going to be very similar score-wise to the playoff game last year. Maybe the Rams have the football again with a chance to win the game. But, I've said it pretty consistent. Until the Eagles actually lose, I can't pick against them. So that's where I am with this team. And I got them winning 28-24-ish, I believe, is my prediction.
Yep, there you go. Johnny Mac, good stuff, brother. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you on the halftime show and the postgame show. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us right here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. It's week number 3 in the NFL, everybody. Good takes there from Johnny Mac as he previews this football game.
You got such a great stadium in Philadelphia. You mean to tell me Jeffrey Lurie can't get better Wi-Fi in that bitch?
I know.
Oh, man, let's go here, man.
Well, it's what happens is it loads up with people, and then there's too many people pulling on it. You're right. I got to figure
Jeffrey.
I got to figure out a way. I need to do a super chat fund and get some sort of fiber optic for John's phone or something. I'll work on that. See if we can get that done. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning on the JAKIB Pregame Show. Not often can we say the morning. It's 11:53 Eastern time. We're an hour and 7 minutes out from game time for the great Big Sills. It's 8:53 in the morning over there.
He's good, baby. Don't worry about that. Big Sills I love broadcasting and I love You know what I do too on game day?
What's that?
I get up for game day. My time at 6 a.m. And I get up and watch that show just to show you what a nerd on a football guy I am.
I know you are.
Get up in the morning and watch game day at 6.
Big Phil's is a true sports guy.
Hey, I am.
Phil
And
gets off the shows.
It was at the University of Miami yesterday, too, so it was all good.
Yeah, good win for your Hurricanes yesterday, Big Sills. A lot of good college games yesterday. Big Sills is a true football guy. Broadcasts 7 hours a day on sports, gets off, opens up a Corona, and watches sports all night. That's what makes him great.
Hey, Corona? All right.
All right, so we got a couple super chats we'll read here. We'll take some great chats from the great people of JAKIB Nation. Let's go, Birds, everybody. It's week 3. Let's go. Brian Pumper says, sorry, fellas. I have a bad feeling about today. Hopefully, Jalen and the crew can keep up with Matthew and Sean. I got Rams 28-21. Sean McVay can't beat Vic Fangio, Pumper.
I'll just tell you, man. I think he's got a spectacular resume. In 8 years of coaching, he's got 4 division titles, 2 NFC championships, and a Super Bowl as a play-calling head football coach, and he's younger than Nick Sirianni, which is, he's still the second youngest coach in the NFL, and he's been in 8 years.
That's crazy.
I don't think he's 40. Okay, yeah. I think he's 39 years old.
Sean McVay,
he may have,
he's 39.
Yeah, this guy's been coaching 8 years.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Insane.
It is. He's a remarkable coach. There's no doubt about it. But every great coach or every great player has a kryptonite. And Vic Fangio right now is his kryptonite. We'll see if he can beat him today.
I gotcha.
Well, what are you going to say? Go ahead.
I was going to go like this. I go, well, I guess Jalen's kryptonite is Todd Bowles next week.
It is. So far in his career, it absolutely is. I think most Eagles fans would agree with that. Which is why
on that Jets team beating them today because of the injuries in that O-line. Everyone's gone. Everyone.
Yeah.
Dude, wait. I'm telling you.
Justin Fields led Jets.
Dude, how do you think the Eagles would do if you lost Mulata and Lane Johnson?
I'm not saying it's about the Bucs to me. It's about the Jets to me. If we lost Mulata and Lane Johnson, I'd still expect to beat the Jets.
Okay. All right. Well, you almost lost to the Cowboys.
Well, hey, listen. Look, I understand people use that because the Cowboys aren't this great football team. But when I've been watching NFC East football enough to know that when you have a divisional opponent, you take your records, you take your rosters, you take what people think, and you throw them out the window and you go play 6.
Okay, so you applied that last week then to what the Giants did to the Cowboys too, right?
Absolutely. To a certain extent,
100%. Yards. All right.
100%. Philly Don checks in. What's up, Philly Don? Good to see you, brother. He says, should the cornerbacks play more press or should they play in their usual off man? Philly Don, I love you. If they play press today, it's not going to be pretty.
That's not what they do. They won a Super Bowl playing with Vic's style of football too high.
He says he wants to see more safety blitzing with Nakua. I agree, but it ain't happening today.
Dude, I'm not blitzing Matthew Stafford with Nakua and with Adams. I'm not doing
safety blitz Matthew Stafford.
No way. Stay in your zones, man. Stay in your technique in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Philly Don, thanks for the super chat, brother. Where I do agree with you, Don, is that was fun to see. Makuba coming up the blitz and getting home, but I don't know if it happens today.
He looked like a good blitzer, too. He looked like he had
he's got a great knack. He's got a great knack for the football. Umberto checks in. What's up, brother? Puka line up in the slot a lot. I'd have Coop follow him. Well, if he is in the slot, I do think.
You're going to see a lot lot of that, especially and also, too, with those runs that they're running. He is running a lot in the middle.
I hope your boy Clint Hurt coached that D line up today because if you watch, they get real creative with Puka. And we've talked about this before. They'll motion him out, and it looks like he'll go on a streak.
They'll run him in the A gap
up through the A and the B gap. I mean, so if you're a defensive lineman on the Eagles today, dude, that's fair game. Like if I'm Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis and I see him coming through that, I'm putting a shoulder on him and saying, yo, you don't come through this defensive line. No way. You're not beating us that way. So I hope the D line's looking out.
You know what else they tell him to do, Xander? Even if he does make some yards, have the extra guy put a hat on him.
Yeah, right.
It's like tenderizing a steak. You want to keep doing that? We're going to keep hammering you in the middle in there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Abe, what's up, Abe? Good to see you, my man. Can it be Jalen? Could it be Jalen's issue to have Jalen?
I think he's saying, is it Jalen with the issues
Oh, for having a
and
better
the old
offensive line.
versus the old line. I think that's where you're going, Abe. You can correct it over here in a minute here, but
Well, I think he's probably right.
I think it all works together.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, look, Jalen is a playmaking quarterback. He's not a rhythm drop back throwing quarterback. So with that, you're going to hold on to the ball naturally a little bit longer than a Stafford or a Mayfield or even a Mahomes. So, I think that to some extent it adds to it. But
you think they bring Campbell today
on a blitz?
Yeah.
Maybe rarely, just to try and give him a different look. Because I think Campbell's
What's your over-under on blitzes? I'm going to go 4.
I'm going to say under.
Under?
I'm going to say under.
I'm going to say they're going to bring 4. 4 times they're going to try to get there.
I think ideally today, Vic would like to have a Super Bowl type defense where he doesn't blitz once. Now, that's obviously the best case scenario because your front four is getting home and you don't need to bring. Now, that might not be obviously the perfect scenario, but I think Vic is looking a lot more to be that today than he was last week versus the Chiefs. So
I expect to see a lot more snaps from Smith also, and I'm talking Zadarius. I'm expecting to see a lot more snaps today.
I think today's an opportunity for him to have a big game out there against this Rams team. Here's Khaled checks in. What's up, Khaled? Good to see you, my man. Thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you very much, man.
It's week 3 in the end. It's a beautiful day to be alive, Big Sills. We got football on the TVs coming up. We got our Eagles sitting at 2-0, potentially about to be 3-0, and we got a whole day in football in front of us. Enjoy the day, everybody. Khaled says, looks like the Eagles assigned a dad to watch Carter, SMH. Always someone has to watch over him. I'm not sure who he's referring to.
Yeah, I don't either. You're talking about Big Dom or you're talking whomever. But
who I think does a great job at managing those personalities. Look, I always say this about Jalen Carter. And there, whenever you have a player like that, there's pros and cons to the mentality, but you also don't want to beat it out of him. Look, I get it. He has to be more mature. He has to grow up a little bit. He has to understand what type of pressure and weight falls on his shoulders as the best player on that defense and as presumably the leader. But at the same time, Sills, I don't want to make him a pacifist. All right. No. I need that anger. I need that. That's what makes him partly a great football player. So you don't want to take that out of him completely.
Here's what Clint told him. Clint told him, you're not picking your spots good enough. If you want to be an intimidating, you want to do all this, be smart, pick your spots. You can have that presence of being an intimidator, but don't be an intimidator being immature. I want imitate. I want a guy that's a guy who's going to just intimidate people, but I don't want an immature dude in there. And some of those moves inside, he's a young kid still growing up, but like you said, I'd rather pull you off the edge and push you to the edge. So that's, it's a tough putt on him. But I'm okay. Listen, I'm okay with the kid. I'm more disappointed that he's not in good shape.
So who do you give the I agree. Who do you give the advantage to in the trenches today? Both sides.
I disagree with John.
I do too.
I disagree with him that the Cowboys and the Chiefs, they won up front. I mean, I don't know what, again, there's a difference of opinion here. I don't see it. I don't think Landon's played well at all. And I think Cam's also. I'm still going to do this. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, which I don't like to do because I haven't seen them dominant at the point of attack. Zander, they don't have a good run game right now. It's off script stuff and off schedule stuff that Jalen's doing by covering some of the lost yardage 100%. That they're not getting from it. They're averaging 3.7 a carry now. A year ago, they were averaging 6 a carry with him. So I'll say this, man. I think it's a push today. And I think this is why the Rams are in this game. I disagree.
This is where
I think the Rams are in this game.
I agree, and this is where sometimes I struggle.
Like, do you think that the Eagles won up front?
Not maybe they did if you really got into the nitty gritty of it, but they didn't overwhelmingly win up front like we're used to.
Cowboys ran the ball for 120.
That's what I mean. Like we're used to seeing dominance at the line of scrimmages.
And they haven't
seen that. That's where I disagree with John. Like this is where I don't like PFF sometimes. Okay, maybe they're graded out as the number. I don't know. That O-line to me doesn't look like the dominant unit so far that we're used to seeing for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Chris Jones kicked the shit out of Landon last week.
Yeah, he did.
He
He
kicked
beat
the
him.
shit
Yeah,
out of them.
he did.
And they were all in the middle of the field there. I don't know what people are watching. Landon was getting thrown around like a bag of potatoes.
Yeah. Sills, as always in an NFL football game, I think a big one today is actually red zone too. More, especially with these two teams.
And they're pretty good in the red zone.
Both are pretty good in the red zone. But, I think with that Rams team, if you're able to, I think bend but don't break is going to, I know people hate that, but that's Vic at its core.
That's too
and
high.
I think that's a big one today. If you can if that Rams team moves the ball between the 20s, but you can keep them out of the end zone, you're going to remain in control of the football game. If they're getting into the end zone, though, that's where you're going to open up a can of worms where the Eagles are going to have to pass. They're going to have to do things. They're going to have to play football like they don't normally play football.
Bro, if the Rams get any kind of spacing and they get any kind of run game going, like look at what kept the Cowboys in the game was their run game. Their run game created play action for Dak, and Dak had one guy. Stafford's got two excellent players. I mean, and he made it a last possession ball game.
Yeah.
Dak had a shot to win that ball game. So did the last two games. Am I right when I say this? The last two games, Dak had a chance to win the game, and also Mahomes had a chance to win the game. Well, you got two players now that are going to be – you had nobody a week ago in the wide receiving core. Not even Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce dropped the pass and could have been a hero in the ball game. Right. I'm telling you, dude, these two wide receivers are excellent. I mean, maybe, hey, listen, they're not AJ and DeVonta, but I'll tell you why they are AJ and DeVonta. You know why? They get the ball to them.
Yeah.
You guys aren't getting the ball to your guys.
You could probably make an argument they're close to AJ and DeVonta right now.
That's right. Well, how about this? They're more productive right now.
Well, they are certainly. I mean, even the last year. I mean, I don't know what Puka Nacua was able to put up last year, but we haven't had prolific receiving years in the last.
I think he missed some time a year ago.
Puka did.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're right there. To your point, they are right there. They're obviously a great great set of receivers. Sills, and the other thing that is impressive about this Rams team, and you brought up Jackie Slater, who's on your show. Excellent interview, by the way. Always, never get a Pro Football Hall of Famer on. So
20 years.
20. I mean, that's rare right there. But him talking about this Rams defensive line, and then you look at it. I don't know if I agree with John fully too about them not being great in the run. Now they're obviously not as good as they are at pass rushing, but Kobe Turner, Jared Verse. They got Braden Fisk. They got Byron Young, who's a beastie player. They got some dudes, man, on that defensive line. They have some dudes. And you look at that offensive line of the Eagles, little banged up. Cam Jurgens off the back surgery. Landon still not operating at 100%. Tyler Steen, a new starter out there. I think that's – I hate to say this. I think that's an advantage LA.
I do too. I mean – boy, I tell you, man, I just when I heard him talking about the Rams defensive line and he was calling it like the fearsome foursome and people were talking about it being one of the better defensive lines, man, that is, in my opinion, here's the key to the game here, Zander. Here's the key. The Eagles have to win first and second down.
Yeah.
Win first and second down. Keep that thing in third and short, because here's something else that's going to be a factor in this game. You ain't going to get tush push today. You've got to go into that game knowing this right now, that the refs are not going to allow that, and they're going to over-officiate this play. So you've got to keep this thing, in my opinion, in third and long. Hey, I never believe in New York City or Park Avenue hatred towards the Philadelphia Eagles and their fans. You might see that bad puppy on display today with that play. So keep that in mind as well. Win first and second down. You've got to win first and second down because, dude, if you let that pass rush go and you're third and long, I'm going to think the Rams are going to win that battle. You're 15th, you're 16th right now in pass protection.
Yeah. Look, that's going to be a good one. I mean, that, and by the way, I didn't even mention Puna Ford, a guy in the interior there who can stop the run. So add him into those other guys. I mean, there's no doubt this is going to be a big one here. Sills, there's a guy on Twitter to your point about the tush push. I'm trying to find him right now. Give me just a second. NFL ref stats, and he always DMs me. We talk often. He's great on Twitter. NFL ref stats 1. You can give him a follow. He's puts out the referee analysis of all the groups and the propensity, the different tendencies that they have and things. And he sent me a message this week, and he said, I'm hearing that the league is really coming down on the officials and how they're going to call the tush push. And he said to me, keep your eye on this. There's a lot of outrage, maybe some of it purposeful, on this tush push this week. So if Rodgers' crew is calling some stuff, you know the league has issued the orders. So I know they can't kill this play, Sills, until after the year, but I'm wondering if they're going to soft kill it.
They're gonna drag kill this thing, and
they're gonna make it so hard to run this play that it's almost gonna maybe persuade the Eagles to not use it as much. I don't know. We'll see.
By the way, you're gonna hear quick whistles today.
That's what I mean. They're gonna make it hard.
Quick whistles. You're not gonna get the push from behind. They're gonna stop the play. That's how they can legislate it. You know the only way. How Zander, you can't legislate it in the pile, right? But you can legislate it from the guys pushing from behind.
Yeah.
And if it gets to a point of attack, they're going to go you're going to have quick whistles. And I think you're going to see a little bit of a difference in this game on how that play is called. Just something to keep an eye on. Listen, I don't believe that that's going to be the determining factor of the game because I think these teams are pretty close. But that's going to be something to keep an eye on because, again, that's one of their big plays that you have in a game and in a game plan each and every single week.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100% coming into this game. So something else I think is a big factor today in the game, and it's always a factor, obviously, in every football game. But and something the Eagles have had a good start to the year in is tackling today. I mean, you got great receivers. You got these aren't now. DeVonta Adams is a little older, so probably a little bit of a different role there. But Puka Nacua is a guy that he'll run through a tackle, dude, and pick up some yaks. So the tackling. I mean, look, you get him on a Dory Jackson. I don't know if Adoree Jackson for tackling Puka Nacua is a matchup you want. So they got to be on their P's and Q's when it comes to tackling today, I think, in that secondary.
I think DeVonta Adams is more of a 2 on this offense.
100%.
He's more the 2. So you talk about some of the greatest 2s in the league right now. He's one of them, man. I mean, he was an exceptional 1. And they give Puka Nacua a lot more. They give him a lot more latitude on what kind of plays they're going to run. You think they go conservative play calling again today? Eagles.
Well, I think honestly, I think it depends on their first and second down. I mean, if they're able to run the ball with Saquon today, I think they're going to triple down on it and just play their ball. Don't push the ball. Don't put the ball in harm's way and continue to run this team off the field. So I don't know, but I what I'm curious to see. We always talk about this too. I'm curious to see those first scripted plays for this offense. Now, I know it's one of those things that's overblown because the second you get into a third down situation, the script goes out the window. But I am curious to see, is the script try and get AJ and DeVonta involved? Does it try and pick on those corners? Or is it trying to establish themselves in the run game? Because I think it's going to give you an insight into what the Eagles are trying to accomplish today offensively.
I want to throw some numbers at you. It's funny. We kind of are starting to, and I always throw these numbers, 145 and 65. That seems to be Jalen Hurts. He's 145 and 65. I got Stafford today at around 340 yards and 3 touchdowns because they've got it. Well, here's why.
Oh, come on.
Well, Dak threw for 300 yards, didn't he? No. I mean, Dak threw for 3 touchdowns, right? I mean,
I got more confidence.
But wait a minute. Here's why. They have to throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball 50 times. You're going to throw the ball maybe 20 times? I'm not saying that dude, just because you have a lot of numbers in the passing game, that doesn't mean you're going to win the ball game.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe
the Eagles have 200 yards rushing and Jalen has 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, but hear me out. The reason I balked
passing, you're going to win.
The reason I balked at that though is that through 2 games, and I know it's early, and I know there's a lot of the thing that I think has given me a sense of confidence has been the defense is ahead of where I thought they would be after all the losses they had.
Context, though. Who are you playing against in the secondary with wideouts?
That's true. CD and Pickens are 2 good wideouts.
Okay.
And
I thought they got wide open. I thought they got wide open. And
if he ran for that 200 yards, if he didn't have Butterfingers.
If he didn't have 4 drops, he has 200 yards in the game. Okay. Now you've got 2 former Pro Bowlers and all pros in the game. And you've got a possible Hall of Fame quarterback in the game. That's why I say that there's going to be high volume. Now, I don't think it's going to be super high scoring ball. I don't think you're going to see anybody in the 30s. But I think you're going to see some big numbers on Matthew Stafford. Now, watch this. He might throw for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. It's going to be something like that. They have to move the ball in the air because LA can't move the ball on the ground, dude. That's not how they win ball games.
I know. It's true. It is true. Here we go. A couple more super chats, and then we'll get our final thoughts, final predictions here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. It's game day, everybody. I absolutely love the football season, Sills. What a beautiful time to be alive, baby. Nathan says, A.J. Brown is due. Sills, what say you?
Well,
Oh,
wait a minute. It's Emmanuel Forbes. Let me say this to you. Hey, Nathan, if this guy doesn't have 150 yards receiving.
No, bullshit. You can't make that. 100 yards.
On Emmanuel Forbes.
100. 150 is unrealistic.
100? This
100.
is fucking A.J. Brown.
I know, but you have to be realistic in the offense. They don't throw 150-yard wideouts all often.
Okay, so
100.
100 yards. 100 yards for A.J. That's a win for Emmanuel Forbes. That's a win for that guy. You hold A.J. to 100 yards, that's a win.
Because with A.J. getting 100 yards, that's going to help Saquon. It's going to help your offensive line. It's going to help everybody on that team, get better.
Okay, I say Barkley's got to be the key to this game. It's not A.J.
Well,
Barkley's got to be the guy with 130.
I don't disagree with you, but I'll say this, and I've gotten a lot of hate comments about this, and I don't give a shit. We have A.J. Brown. Stop telling me we don't need to use or shouldn't use or not concern ourselves with the use of A.J. Brown. That would be like the Vikings saying, who cares? We don't need to get Jefferson the ball. You'd be like, what are you on crack? That'd be like the Rams saying, we don't need to get Puka the ball. Come on, guys. We got a great football player. Get him involved in the offense. I don't think that should be too hard to do when you got a player of his caliber. I really don't. We got to get him the football.
Got to get him the ball, my friends. Got to get him the football. And there's no excuses this week.
So Nathan throws a wrinkle with the A.J. Brown, but here, Nathan, I love your next super. Ready for it, Sil? Are you ready for this, Sills? Sills, go ahead and walk back that score prediction, my friend. Let's go, Nathan. I got 27-24 Birds in this game.
I wanted to wait and see if Fisk was going, and he looks like he's going in the game. I think that the wide receivers on the Rams are excellent. I think the quarterback's excellent. I don't think you're going to get pressure on him in this game, and I agree with John. I think this is going to look a lot like the playoff game. The difference in this game, it will not be swatted out. I got 28-26 Rams in this game, and I believe the Rams, instead of the ball hitting the turf, I think the ball hits the back of the end zone.
Oh, who's in coverage, Adoree?
Adoree, you're going to see Adoree going like this and running like he's like the running man. You're going to see DeVonta Adams catching a game winner.
I'm
you
not
watch
buying that bullshit. This defense is ahead of schedule.
Ahead of schedule?
Yeah, way ahead of schedule.
Somebody tells me you're ahead of schedule and Adoree Jackson's in it.
Right now, we're the one holes deep. Last year, we were the no holes defense.
Okay.
Right now, we're the one hole.
Where's Sidney Brown? Is he ever going to play again?
No. We got Makuba. We got Makuba. What do we need Sidney Brown?
Okay. All right. Hopefully he can hang in there and not get hurt and walkthroughs, but we got you. Let's see what goes on here, man. I tell you, and listen, I struggled with it. I went like this. Man, if Landon's healthy, man, it's Eagles. But if he's not, it's really close for me, man. It really is. You could go.
Right.
I mean, by the way, it's 3.5 points, right?
I think we said this on our shows this week on
Would you take the number? Would you take the number in the Rams?
What is it? 3.5?
3.5.
Nah, I'm taking the Birds.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking them. We talked about this, Sills, on the.
You won last week, 2017, over a depleted Kansas City team, right?
It's a new week. So
it's a new week.
It's a new fucking week. Oh my God.
Okay, it's a new week. All right.
I was going to pull up a comment, but my mouse died. This damn Apple mouse is driving me crazy this week. At the Helm Outdoors in the chat says, Sills is not thinking clear. I love that.
Sills is thinking big clear. Gotcha.
No, I really don't think you are. I really don't. I mean,
okay.
I think
look, we're going to find. How about this? We're going to go play 60 minutes here in a couple minutes, and we're going to go find out.
What are we, 45 minutes or so?
45 minutes. We're going to get out there. We're going to start chomping at the bit out there on the old field, man. I love it. Let's go play 60. How you doing?
All right, so your final couple thoughts here, your final keys. Give me a key.
Listen, I really believe this.
Real quick. If the Rams win the football game today, what's their key? And if the Eagles win the football game today, what's their key?
If the Eagles win the football game, they ran the ball for 150-plus yards, then again, it's just a repeat of running you over. If they run them over, they could run them out of Lincoln Financial. If they don't, this is what's going to make this game close. And if you can't get pressure in this ball game like you didn't really in that playoff game a year ago, you're going to have troubles with Stafford finding the holes in the secondary. You've got to get him on his back. I think this comes down to pressure, really almost so much on both sides of the football. And I got to say this, Poona Ford's got to be a factor here. I mean, he's got to be the Vita Vea in the middle of that field where you are a factor, because that's one thing the Bucs have, right? The Bucs have Vita Vea in the middle. That's one of the things that stops the run, which they bring blitz cover. They bring blitzes on Hurts. If they do the same thing in this ball game, my opinion right there, this is where you win the ball game if you're the Rams. You cannot let the Eagles go for over 150, 160 yards, and Hurts is throwing for 200 yards in the air. The game's over. It's not going to happen.
So I appreciate the sentiment, Sills, and I know Poona Ford is a solid football player, but I'm going to go ahead and say he's not quite going to be Vita Vea. I'm going to take the no on that.
But they don't need him to be.
They're going to win the football game today. Here's my prediction for the game. I know I said 27-24, but honestly, I don't feel like it's going to be pretty. I don't feel like the Eagles are going to have some sort of day where we come out and we're like, okay, they look better. I think it's going to be ugly as shit.
Okay. Are we bitching more?
Classic Eagles football.
Wait, are we bitching more? Are we bitching more after the game or less?
His legs. I think it's going to be ugly, and we're going to win in the end like we always do.
How about this? Are we going to bitch more after the game, or are we going to bitch less after the game?
Oh, well, we'll be bitching. I mean, it's Philadelphia. It says we're not talking about the Eagles if we ain't bitching about something. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. It's Philly. We got to bitch about some things. We aren't. If you hear a Philadelphian who's not bitching about anything, that guy's not a Philadelphian. He's either not a Philadelphian or he's on meds or something, because he's not all right. He's not himself today. So that's just the God's honest truth. Big Sales, good stuff, brother. Appreciate you doing it. We'll talk to you in the post-game show. A big one coming up, my friend.
Very close game. This is going to be, I think, a last possession, fourth quarter football game, and I will see you on the post-game show, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Big Sales. Good stuff, my friend. There's Big Sales. Dan Sileo, host of the National Football Show from 2 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday here on JAKIB Sports. One of the best in the business. I know all you guys love Big Sales. I know I love Big Sales. Great stuff there. We're going to take some comments here before we get out of here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. I'm feeling pretty good. All right, look, I know we've talked about it all, but at the end of the day, we can analyze and want more passing. We can look at things and be critical of it, because that's what you do when you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan. It's in our blood. That's how we operate. It's how we think about things. All right, but at the end of the day, this is what's true. Jalen Hurts, the last 18 games that he started and finished, we won the football game. We're 2-0 this year. We have won 16 straight, 18 of 19, and the only loss, as I mentioned, was when Jalen Hurts missed the game. Guys, these are more than trends. This is way longer than a trend. This is a team that has not landed. I love what Gerald McCoy said today on the NFL Network this morning. They talked about him and said, is the passing game not, is it a problem? Gerald McCoy says, some people say, hey, the Eagles haven't taken off yet. They haven't taken flight. I say they haven't landed. You don't win 18 straight games in the NFL, all right, by accident. It doesn't work like that. It's a hard league, all right? There's a lot of parity in the league. So this team knows how to win football games. They've mastered the art of winning football games. This is why I said I got 27-24. I got an ugly Eagles-esque win. I don't think it looks all beautiful and pretty through the air, but I think we walk out of here with a W and we get the 3-0. It's just what this team has proven to be. It's what this team has proven to be. And I'm not, until they prove us otherwise, I think we would be remiss to think different. All right. So Big Sills has the Rams winning. I'm surprised he has that, but he does have the Rams winning. I'd like to get some score predictions from the great people. Alfredo, chill with the spam. Holy mackerel, my friend. I'd like to get them some score predictions from the great people of JAKIB Nation. All right. What are your guys' predictions? Here's my boy Lucius. Lucius the show. He says 34-17. Wow. Big a big explosive outburst today. Alfredo, can you please knock it off? I'm not reading your comment when you have to put it in 38 times. It's spamming. Nobody in the chat can write comments because you're typing it so many different times. John Castiglione. I love that name. Rest in peace, Flyers legend Bernie Parent. No way. Oh, man, I didn't see that. Rest in peace to Bernie Parent. A true, John, even more than a Flyer legend, a true hockey legend, John. A true hockey legend in Bernie Parent. Rest in peace to Bernie Parent, man. That's hate to see it, but it is what it is. Looks like C24 has made his way back to the chat as the creeper that he is. Philly Don, 31-20. Ooh, Philly Don, I like that score. All right. All Card says 34-24 Birds. I like it. It's still big. That's still big. 28-21. Jerry, I had 27-24 today. We're in a similar ballpark. I like where your head is. Look at Jeff Bone. Bone has 17 of 14. Bone, you got an ugly game coming up, it sounds like, my friend. You think an ugly game is coming up, all right? 27-20, I like that score. 28-17 Rams. All right, we got a Rams pick today. JD3, he's in the pumper category. If he's been wrong so much this summer, it's hard to put any stock in what JD3 has said. Unfortunately for you, JD3, not your best summer of predictions. My boy Lamar checks in 21-20. Kind of like that score prediction. I kind of like it. My girl Kimberly checks in. She says 28-24. All right, Kimberly, we're on the same page. I got 27-24. HKP, I like it. 27-17. So a lot of Birds W's. How can we pick against the Birds? Seriously, I just gave you the numbers. This is a lot more than a trend. I mean, for the people in here who are critical, and believe me, I'm a Philadelphia. I get it. I hear you. Shady McCoy, my guy Show Nuff, who wants to see AJ involved a little bit more. Me Too Show. How do we pick it? I mean, look, even with the problems that we see with our own eyes, how the hell do we pick against this football team? Winning is a habit. This team has mastered the art of winning. And they don't do it in pretty ways. They don't do it in modern NFL ways. But they win, man. They win. Shady says, I don't get what y'all are seeing. How are the Eagles scoring all these points? Well, that's why I said 27-24. I think that's right on the button. Maybe a little less than that, but I don't think that's far off. I think we got enough weapons. All right. He says, I'm picking against him. No, you're not, Lucius. Lucius, let me tell you what's going to happen. They're going to beat the Rams today, and then next week's going to come, and you're going to say, shit, I can't pick against them. It's now 19 of 20. You're not picking against them next week. You're not. Lucius, I know you, Lucius. You're going to be rocking your new DeVonta Smith jersey next week, and you're not picking against the Eagles next week. It's not happening, Lucius. It's not happening, okay? It's not happening. So, all right, everybody. Good stuff, man. Great pregame show today. We're about 34 minutes out. I'm going to go and get ready for the JAKIB Green Zone today. Make sure you guys tune in for those who don't have a local broadcast. If you want a companion to watch, listen to the game. We do the play-by-play here. Joe Krause, my father, Krause. All right, we'll do the play-by-play here right on JAKIB Sports. So we'll be doing that again. The JAKIB Green Zone will air on the channel today. At the halftime show, we will have the JAKIB halftime show. All right, I'll get Johnny Mack up. Hopefully the internet works from the stadium, and we'll get his take at the half. And then right after, the iconic JAKIB postgame show. We'll be live right after the game with myself and Big Sills. And then after John does the press conferences down at the stadium, we will get Johnny Mack in as well. It's going to be a great day of football, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys another day alive, another day on this beautiful earth, and another day with football on the television set, all right? We are all blessed people, regardless of the circumstances that we are in. We are all blessed individuals. So enjoy the game. Enjoy whatever company you have today. Let's go play 60, everybody. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.